It is still September 7th. It is 7:30. We are 50 minutes from kickoff of game number
It,
one.
it's Groundhog Day.
I know. I'm flying Ryan Gilchrist along with,
Tampa Motormouth Joel Verlin.
and this time we're talking Lions Chiefs. We're talking week one of some fantasy plays, and we're going to make our official Super Bowl picks that will hopefully be a little better for one of us than they were last year. Joel had Eagles Bills, not too bad. I had Cardinals Colts, and we're not going to talk about it. So we're going to try and do better than that. Maybe not
Well,
take the upstart teams.
one of the teams gave up the historically biggest lead at halftime to another team. You like that?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. So, anyways, let's start with the news of the day. Travis Kelce is officially out tonight against the Detroit
Don't
Lions.
pick up Bushman unless you are really desperate.
Yeah, if you need a tight end, you need to hit the waiver wires now, and hopefully you don't have to wait. But he is officially out. He made a strong push to play, but they're not risking anything. And we've seen the injuries get worse when you push through them. I've got bad knees because I refuse to let them heal properly. So I know exactly what that's like. So inactives for tonight's game. Stephen Gilmore, Emmanuel Mosley in the secondary for the Lions. And then, of course, no Travis Kelce is the big one for the Chiefs. Chiefs are still favored to win this game, and they are at home tonight. So, in the absence of Travis Kelce, the spread went down by about 2 points from 6.5 to 4.5. I'm in a confidence pool with a bunch of people I work with, and my confidence went from they were the highest confidence pick to about the middle of the pack just on the Travis Kelce news alone. For the Chiefs, who do you play tonight? Obviously, you're going to play Pat Mahomes. If you drafted him, you drafted him in the first or second round. Maybe he got
Mm,
lucky and he fell to the
I,
third, but
yeah,
most likely he did not.
yeah,
You're
I
going to
know.
play him.
I was actually listening to Fantasy Sports Radio, and one of the hosts, I forget which show it was, but somebody was actually going, "Okay, don't call in and say, do I start Patrick Mahomes?"
Yeah. I know the fantasy footballers set a disclaimer because they do their breakdowns Thursdays and Fridays. If we're talking about studs and we don't say you should start Justin Jefferson, we should start Christian McCaffrey, that's because you need to know that already. We're going to talk about your fringe players. Now, on this, we're going to give you a quick blurb. You're playing Pat Mahomes. You're probably playing Isaiah Pacheco. And then after that, Sky Moore, MVS. Maybe a little less scary, depends on your league. I know we talked about our 16-team draft in the last podcast. Sky Moore for Joel could very well be in play tonight for the Kansas City Chiefs. For the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff is very intriguing. He was not great on the road last year, but the Chiefs defense usually starts the season pretty poorly. Amon-Ra St. Brown going to be in your lineup. Sam Laporta could be a dart throw in a deeper league at tight end. Then David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs both going to be in your lineup. This should be the one of the higher scoring games of the week. I believe it's got the highest over under total points of any of them. I think it's 54 and a half. So it's a very tasty matchup for fantasy football. We'll see how the Chiefs look without Travis Kelce. But for the first time all season, we have to make our picks. Of course, last year I won on the Super Bowl game. That put the difference on the board between Joel and I. Joel's won 2 seasons out of 3. I am the reigning champ, though. So, Joel, first pick of the season, Lions or Chiefs?
This one is a game you got all the hype and everything. I think is not about the Lions because you have the main questions about the Chiefs because anybody who wants to drink the Kool-Aid to pick the Lions, they're going to talk about these three things. Of course, number one, Travis Kelce and all the speculation. Is he in? Is he out? Now, he are definitely out of the game of Rooney tonight. So we'll see how much of a factor that is or isn't. Number two, of course, the Chris Jones holdout. So you have a major piece of the offensive line not in play, and we'll see how much that hampers Patrick Mahomes and the entire offense. And the other question, remember, of course, in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes dealing with the injury. They still won, got the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. But still, one of the questions is there any lingering effects from that injury, even with all the time that Patrick P. Mahomes has had off to heal? Are there any lingering effects that could hamper him in the littlest tonight? So you have those three things, but still, even with those three factors being a Damocles sword above the Kansas City Chiefs, I would be willing to drink the Kool-Aid. One thing, if it was in Detroit, it's not in Detroit. It's an Arrowhead, not Burrowhead. Remember how well that went down last year? It's an Arrowhead. Yeah, it's very hard to pick the Chiefs, especially when they're $2 favorites. And you look at that over and under, the numbers, folks, know what they are doing. So, my pick tonight, Chiefs, and definitely under, especially anytime it's a hook. That hook is absolutely ridiculous when you're trying to pick, especially when there's any kind of over or under. So, Chiefs. Sorry, Lions. I know you're going to have a better year than everybody thinks, but got to go with the Chiefs.
Detroit is the fourth favorite in the NFC to win the conference this year. Something that seems out of place. Of course, Kansas City is the reigning Super Bowl champs. The big concern tonight is what can Pat Mahomes do without Travis Kelce? Of course, they've given up Juju Smith-Schuster in the offseason, so it's going to be Sky Moore. It's going to be Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's going to be Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Noah Gray. Like, this is a bad wide receiver group as of right now. Now, maybe Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney is also there. Maybe Moore or Toney is better than we realize, and they're going to take that next step. Maybe Rashee Rice is more advanced than we realize as well. This, I think, is screaming to take the under just because the Detroit defense should be a little bit better than it was last year. And with Pat Mahomes having no Travis Kelce and a depleted wide receiver core against a team in Detroit that's pretty good against the run that might hold up Isaiah Pacheco. This could be a big Jerick McKinnon game, to be honest. It's going to be a lower scoring game. I could see it being like a 24-27 type of game, a little bit on the under. But I think Detroit's going to have a shot to win this game. I am picking Kansas City, but the Travis Kelce news definitely takes a lot of the confidence away from this pick. I'm going to take Kansas City. You give respect to the champs raising the banner in their building. Most of the time, the team comes out and plays really, really well. Now, last year, the Rams got smoked by the Bills, but the Rams ended up being a complete fraud last year. So I don't expect the Chiefs to be a complete fraud. I think they handle business tonight, but it might not be the most appealing game and might be something that if you're a Kansas City fan, you really want Travis Kelce to get fully healthy and then stay healthy because this could be a tough season for the Chiefs offensively if he is out and these wide receivers are not on the level they need them to be.
Given my situation in the 16 team, I came up with a good name.
Oh,
the Enigmas.
Oh, the Enigma. Oh, the Enigmas. Okay. Well, he had to pick a name because he yelled at somebody else for not having a name, so now he had to pick a name.
Gotta be fair when you criticize somebody else for not doing something, and turns out you did that yourself. It's called you put the mirror back on you.
So Joel and I will both start the season either 1-0 or 0-1. Long season, only another 284 games to pick after this one, provided no Damar Hamlin type of situation.
Road.
Yeah. We don't want another Damar Hamlin situation, of course. With that being said, we are going to make our Super Bowl picks. We've done our division by division breakdown. We've done the early predictions for those divisions. But now we're not going to go too deep into it. We're just going to say who we think gets the Super Bowl.
Because we want to watch the game.
We want to watch the game. We want to say who's going to make the Super Bowl from each conference and who we think will win. And again, picks last year were Buffalo, Philadelphia for Joel, so half right. And actually picked the Bills to win, so he had the right conference winning. I had Cardinals, Colts, and that was bad. We shouldn't have done that, so we're going to do better.
Would that be like Major League just a bit outside?
That was about as ice cold of a pick as I could have possibly made. And remember, the Cardinals were a fairly good team the year before. The Colts were a fairly good team the year before. And it looked like, okay, the Cardinals are going to get a little bit better. And the Colts got Matt Ryan. That's going to be a lot better than who they had before. No, that didn't work. So, Joel, go ahead with your pick.
Okay, I know I was trying to make the case last year and really was disappointed that the Bills didn't even get to the Super Bowl. So, putting on not my Homer hat, but my storyline Homer hat, as I'm picking the Bills. Yeah, I know everyone's going the Chiefs. Pick the Chiefs. No, no. Picking Bills in the Super Bowl over, yeah, the Eagles.
So you are taking the same matchup as last year and taking Buffalo once again.
I'm
He's doubling
sticking with them.
down.
Yeah, I know. Same team that historically, way back in the days of yesteryear, went to the Super Bowl 4 times and lost all 4. But that's just one of those storylines that they've got the whole hype machine behind them because of everything that happened to Damar Hamlin, wanting them to get to the Super Bowl. And if they get to the Super Bowl, not only do they have the Christmas present story that everyone's going to go nuts. Oh, the story of Christmas past. Everyone is going to go absolutely, completely crazy. Oh my God, the Bills finally broke the curse. I mean, I know it's crazy, but we live in a universe where Tom Brady joined the Bucks, and the Bucks, even though they were the visiting team, did the one thing that no NFL team has done ever yet. They won in their own
Well, the Rams followed
stadium.
up the next year doing the same thing with Stafford. So
yeah, 2 in a row. Maybe it's time the Bills finally break the curse because we know there's no way the Bucks are going to get there this year, right? I cannot. I know potentially the Bucks could win the division. I'm not as confident with Bijan Robinson in Atlanta and some of the firepower that the Falcons could have this year. But even when you had a competent quarterback who was the GOAT, the Bucks got absolutely completely blasted in the playoffs last year. So yeah, I'd be more than likely to see than Atlanta winning or Carolina because of how well they played last year, winning just
yeah,
maybe even the Saints with Derek Carr, who has the biggest chip on the shoulder in the entire NFL this year.
the Saints. I picked the Panthers to win that division, but the Saints, I think, if they get in, could be a headache for some teams, even though they don't play anybody this season. Joel talked so long, I actually changed one of my picks.
Me talk long. When did I ever
Now,
talk
I was
long?
going to have the NFC representative be the San Francisco 49ers, and that's a very good pick. And I don't make good picks, apparently, for Super Bowl predictions, so I'm going to change that.
Honorable on the field.
Because, of course, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, great offensive weapons, great defensive weapons. Nick Bosa just got some money. It makes too much sense. The Niners with Brock Purdy, they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Kittle has been losing a lot of consensus confidence, I think, this year. ADP was, though.
So, yeah. So, instead of going with San Francisco out of the NFC, I'm going to go with a team that I shouldn't go with. I'm going to go with a team that, frankly, has never been there. I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm going to go with Detroit out of the NFC.
Crazier things.
Hey, the Bengals were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago after being a dog-piled turd for a generation before that. They got the right coach. They got the right players in place. And all of a sudden,
knocking on the door. Not quite there yet. They didn't open the door, but they were knocking on it.
And I'll say this, the NFC, you have the Eagles, you have the 49ers, and then who's next? Is it the Cowboys? Is it the Seahawks? Is it the Lions? And I think it might be the Lions. So I'm going to take the Lions in the NFC. I don't think they win. And then I'm going to take another team that should not take. I'm going to take the Dolphins, and I think they win it. This is a team that's defense is going to be better than it was last year. Tua was exceptional before he got hurt. He's
Even
done a
with
lot
some
of
of
work.
your offensive injuries that seem to be having a little bit of a epidemic there.
Hey, Jalen Waddle is fully healthy. He is a full participant today. Tyreek Hill is healthy. Tua is healthy. Tua's done a lot of work to learn how to not bash his
Just
head
tell
off the
Tyreek
turf.
to not get into any arguments with other boat owners.
Yeah. So I think the Dolphins' offense is going to be as good, if not a little bit better. I still think they're in the sweepstakes for Jonathan Taylor down the line, especially if Taylor says, no, I'm not. I'm playing only the amount of games I need to not be here next year. And then he will hold out if they franchise tag him. That's not going to happen. So I could see him being traded still. And I think the Dolphins are all in if they get the opportunity to get Jonathan Taylor. That offense is going to be unstoppable. That defense is going to take a step in the right direction. And honestly, I think they're better than the Bills right now. And I don't know what I believe for the Jets. I mean,
I
Aaron
can't
Rodgers.
I can't argue that because I remember the one game literally when they went to Buffalo and they were highly competitive. They
They were highly
literally
competitive until it started snowing, and they were still competitive, but until it took a freaking blizzard for them to get a little out of their element, and that was the problem. But the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, we don't know exactly how that's going to look yet. Aaron Rodgers couldn't get the Packers to the playoffs last year in a very weak conference and a very weak division. Now, how much of that was Aaron Rodgers? How much of that was on the defense and the rest of the offense? I don't know. The Jets are going to be a better team than they were last year, but I kind of think the Jets fall off early because they have a tough schedule. And then outside of that, you have the Bengals. Yeah, you have the Jaguars, who I don't think they're quite ready to make that next step. And then Kansas City is, of course, still there.
Jaguar stars are ascending. They're just not. The Jaguars might be they're put at the wild card, maybe divisional level. I don't know about
If I wanted to
conference
go
level
extra
yet.
spicy, I would go Jacksonville, Detroit. But I can't. I don't want to pick two teams that are kind of ascending and we think they're going the right direction, then get another Colts Cardinals thing. I think we're all confident the Dolphins are at least a very good team. That if Tua is healthy, and they were good when he wasn't healthy, and they got Mike White as a better backup than they had last year. So I'm going to take Dolphins to win over Detroit, and it's probably a bad pick. But hey, I have hope. What can I say? And honestly, in that AFC, I think if you make the playoffs, you can win the whole thing. Kansas City, the Chargers, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Steelers, Bills, like you name any of those teams, and then probably a couple others I'm not mentioning, put them in the playoffs, and I mean, they could get hot at the right time. I think the AFC has a lot of the NHL version of things where, well, if a goalie gets hot, if a quarterback gets hot, they can take that team all the way. So, yeah, that's it. Final thoughts, Joel, before we go to football in the TV.
Yeah. My final thoughts. I'm just football's back. I hope it's a good game, regardless of who wins. Though I definitely really feel like it's going to be the Chiefs. And after so long, so many months, like I said in the other podcast, with the Mount Rushmore posts, with the mock draft posts, with the this and the that and the this, and finally it's here. We're looking at the calendar. Thursday night football. Yeah, I know we'll probably be in 2 or 3 weeks, kind of rolling our eyes with some of those matchups that we know can be good, and then you're just like, hey, yeah, this game is over in the first quarter. The other team isn't competitive, but football is still back. Thank you, football's back. Fantasy football's back. I know some people are into DFS. It's not really my thing, but hey, if you love it, if you like doing player props, everything is back on the table. Welcome back. Football, even with all of the craziness with the college football and the slaughters. That's the only way you can describe some of them. All we heard about was Coach Prime, Coach Prime, Coach Prime. Like, okay, yeah, we get it. It was an upset. And even had one game, I think that was in a sandstorm. That was crazy. So just welcome back, football. We missed you. As the old celebrity death match Mills Lane referee used to say, ding, let's get it on.
Yeah. While we're on topic of college football, Why is USF hosting Alabama in 9 days?
Because I said, hold on, I'm just
Why?
gonna because they want to lose by 90.
I saw. I mean, it's got to be a good paycheck, but that's just going to be abysmal if you're a USF alumni or
Let's see
fan.
for Alabama's theme song against USF, and I apologize if there are any USF fans out there other than flying. There, see, I have to
They're
censor
bad,
this.
so I get it.
I have to censor this. I believe Alabama's theme song will be "Move It, Get Out of the Way, Get Out of the Way." I can't say the entire lyrics that usually go with that song, but that's pretty much going to be Alabama's song to USF. Sorry, USF.
My final thought's going to be a real life event from 2 nights ago when I went to the Rays game. It was a great game. Rays win on a walk-off homer by Brandon Lau after he had a couple bad plays.
By who?
Brandon Lau. 3-run homer in the 11th inning. He had a couple bad plays. It was a real sloppy game, but that's not the final thought I have. My final thought is don't give the elderly, angry Bostonian technology to yell into during the game, because I was in section 207 on the very left edge of the section, right by the stairs.
Imagine where this is going.
Right by the stairs. To the left of that is section 209. Front row, about 2 sections in, is this, I'm not going to call him a large man because he was probably about 5'3", but he was wide. And in the first inning, he's yelling, "Do your job. Do your job. Remember what Bill said to the Patriots. Do your job." And the whole time, he is just filming the field and yelling into his phone. And when he thinks he's made a good point, he stops recording and goes, "That's a good one." So then, later in the game, because the Rays pulled ahead, the Red Sox kind of clawed it back in the 6th and 7th inning because of some bad defensive plays. So as the Rays pull ahead, he's on his phone recording, "Fire you, Alex, you dumb bum, you piece of, I can't say it on the show, you're a piece of dumb," yelling. And then, "That's a good one." Talking to nobody. He's not posting to Instagram or Facebook Live. He's just yelling at his phone about how mad he is that the Red Sox were losing. And then, as the Red Sox came back, he goes, "I told y'all it was a long game. It's not over till it's over. It could be 99-0. It's not over." And he's just yelling into his phone. That's all he was doing. He didn't send it to anybody. I watched.
Is that when you want to be like, Darkwing Duck with your gas gun and pointing at him, go, "Suck gas, evildoer"?
And then the Red Sox take the lead in the top of the 11th because, they got the stupid guy on second. He scores, not unexpected, in extra innings. Someone behind me now chirps in, "Oh, it's getting real quiet now around here. Getting real quiet." There were like 19 people at this game to begin with because the Rays have a stadium in St. Petersburg, which is terrible. And this guy turns, "Oh, getting real quiet." So I look at him. I'm like, okay, I see who it was. And then between innings, I go to the bathroom. We were right next to the bathroom. I was able to do it during the 2.5 minutes between innings. The guy tries to give me crap like, "Oh, running away, are you?" I'm like, "Nope, going to the bathroom. I'll be back to watch you guys lose." Come back. Couple hitters in, Brandon Lau, 3-run shot. I turn to look at the guy, and he is marching out of the stadium. The guy with the phone, "Alec Cole, you mother bomb! That's a good one." I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna watch this guy have a stroke. And that was a regular season game for a 4th place team that has no shot at the playoffs, by the way. Rays did win 6-8 and then won the series the next night with a 3-1 win as they're trying to track down the Orioles for the number 1 seed in the AL, and the Red Sox are getting their golfing plans ready for October.
That's when you would have loved to have like the Degeneration X soundbite. And now, of course, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya.
Yeah. And I didn't help matters by when Brandon Lau hit it, it was a no doubter. So I get up, I yell at the guy, "That's gone! That's gone!" So baseball is fun. And yeah, it's fun. Don't give the elderly phones. and the ability to talk crap because it's not a good look.
Yeah, because yeah, I know. I think that's one of the reasons ever since when we started this, even back when it was the Sports Blast, or back when we didn't have the name, just hey, let's just hit the start button and let's talk whatever, and we didn't really have a plan. Well, I don't think we actually have a plan now. Well, we kind of have a little bit of a plan, but anyway, uh, I think that's the one reason why we don't like being like the shows where the one personality sits across the table and yells at the other personality. We talk. We like being complete smart arses.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely both of us, and each with our own personality, but humor. But I think just because of with that guy yelling, that's why we like having a convo. It's a conversation. We're not trying to one up the other.
Yeah,
Both of
and I want to put it this way: if this would have been someone on Instagram or Facebook recording his thoughts and then submitting it, who has a following, because a lot of people now, I mean, we do this. I could have done that and said, I'm posting to my podcast. Yeah. Like I could have done that. He literally just pulled up the camera on his phone, put it on video, and hit record. That's all he did. And he was just yelling.
Is it some kind of special therapy that we don't know about?
I don't know, but he was like 5'3", probably 225, 250 pounds. And he just looked and sounded like the smoker of the docks in Boston Harbor. And yeah, it was fun to watch him lose his mind after they lost that game, because it meant absolutely nothing to the Red Sox because, well, they're pretty much already eliminated. They're like 20 games back of first place. I feel like I actually need to check that.
It feels like in a weird universe that you're in when it's the Rays and the Orioles going at it for the AL East of it. Maybe you can talk the Blue Jays, maybe, but it's really the Rays and the Orioles.
Yeah, the Rays are 3.5 back of the Blue
Feels
Jays.
Like an alternate universe.
The Rays are 3.5 back of the Orioles. The Blue Jays are 11.5 back, 16.5 for the Sox, and 18 for the Yankees. Every team above 500. But
I saw there was a post where apparently Susan Waldman was caught on the hot mic talking about how it's not fun, I think, this season. So,
yeah, but to the guy who sat there for hours yelling at and the other thing he was doing that annoyed the hell out of me is he was giving the third base hand signals from the second deck. Oh, slow! Like
4 minutes till the game.
Yeah. No, it's 8:20. But yeah,
okay.
He's in the second deck. Slow, don't be an idiot. We gotta be loud with our bats. Don't run to second. Stay at first. They can't hear
you. Can you imagine that you paid tickets and you see him come in? You kind of have to wonder that if people are regulars and they see him come in, how many people are going, why don't we go to watch this game somewhere else?
They started, it was a packed section around him. He had 3 seats on either side of him in the front row, and then the 2 rows behind him all disappeared. So
oh yeah, that's got to be like, because you're going, whether you're a Rays fan, whether you're a Red Sox fan, you're going to watch the game, you're going to tune out, you're going to have a good time, you just want to pay attention what's going on. You literally don't want to be bothered by someone who's yelling every freaking 30 seconds, and opinions that probably most people really don't care about either. Yeah. So go home, watch on your laptop, and yell on social media.
Old man yells at clouds. What's what that gave me the vibes of. But I enjoyed it because I took it as Alzheimer's Bill over here is having a fit. This is great.
I'm curious as to what Lady Gilchrist's reaction to him was, if she happened to be present.
I mentioned it after the game, like, this dude's been yelling into his phone the entire time. And she went, really? I didn't notice. Okay, well, I guess I'm just the sociopath that noticed that. But yeah, it was a fun game, and good thing the Rays came out on top. Anyways, football less than 20 minutes away, or right about 20 minutes away. So we're going to get off of here, get everything set up so we can have maximum enjoyment for the first time in 7 months. I'm
yeah,
flying. Oh, okay.
yeah, as much as I enjoy baseball, it's just nothing beats the football.
Hey, we're at the best time of year for sports in this country. Football's coming
Well,
back.
This
Hockey's
this
on
is
the horizon. The baseball pennant races are
I
coming, and basketball, if you like
I
torture, is right there.
I know some people might take this the wrong way, but borrowing from the song, when it comes to sports, it's the most wonderful time of year.
Hmm. Anyways, I'm flying Ryan Gokers along with.
The guy who keeps interrupting him, Tampa Motor Mouth, Joel Roman.
And with that, we are going to enjoy the football.